Hi, and a question. What's the biggest selling album, LP, CD of the last 50 or 60 years? The Beatles? Is it Sgt. Pepper? Maybe Abbey Road? Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms. There'd be a few hands go up for that. Michael Jackson's Thriller? Maybe Simon and Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Water. Huge selling albums. Biggest selling album in the last 50 or 60 years? None of them. According to the records, which finished a couple of years ago, so could have been updated possibly by Taylor Swift, the biggest selling album of the last 50 or 60 years was Queen's Greatest Hits Volume 1. And that was followed fairly closely by ABBA Gold, their greatest hits. So it seems that there's a market for greatest hits and compilations. I haven't got either of those here today, but I want to talk a little bit about greatest hits and compilations because most famous groups and artists have had a significant number of them released. Some of them have fared really, really badly. And I'd point you in the direction of the Kinks, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Both of those suffered really badly. The Beach Boys recently did a video on the Beach Boys, and the Beach Boys compilations, they must outnumber their proper albums by about 100 to 1, and some of them are poor. Now, we're not talking here about what tracks go on to these compilations, because very often they are the greatest hits. I'm talking about the sound quality, the packaging, what you get for your money, because sometimes you're getting a very poor master which sounds as if it was recorded next door behind a bathroom door. They're that bad. But some of them are very good, and some artists have looked after their catalogue better than others, and I want to talk about the two biggest today, the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Going to start there because this is a volume 1. I can see this one going on for a little while because there's a lot of people with some great best-ofs. Well, let's start with the Stones. The Stones' early work on Decca, 62, 63 up to 71. Alan Klein gets a lot of bad publicity for the looking after the Stones' early works, but in reality, the vast majority of the compilations from that era sound really good. They always have, they still do. And the Stones in Mono box set recently got very highly praised. This is not about the Stones in Mono, but their first two compilations from Decca were these two. Big Hits, High Tide and Green Grass, and Through the Past Darkly. Are these well known, never been out of print as far as I'm aware, and both sound very, very good. There are other Decca era compilations, and I've yet to hear a bad one, but we'll stay with those for the moment. Well, let's come a little bit more up to date since we're talking Rolling Stones. I think this is the latest one, also available on CD. In fact, I don't think anything I'm showing this morning isn't on CD. So Honk is 3 CDs of greatest hits spread out, mostly after 1971, a later compilation, and it sounds fine. But if you're going to buy a Stones compilation and you haven't already got one, this one is not currently in the catalogue, but can be found second-hand for not too much money. Rolling Stones 40 Licks. 40 Licks was, I think, a double CD. It's 4 LPs, and it has the, I think, unique selling point that it included Decca singles as well as much later ones. So yeah, it's got, he said, desperately looking for Not Fade Away, 19th Nervous Breakdown, Under My Thumb, No, Can't Get No Satisfaction, as well as their later, possibly even better known tracks. It's really excellent, and the sound quality on 40 Licks is superb. Really is. It's better than any of their other compilations. Now, I'm lying. There is one better Rolling Stones compilation, but I'm sorry to tell you that you won't be able to get hold of it, and I'm not going to spend an awful lot of time on it. It's that. It's the Rolling Stones Grrr, if that's how you pronounce it. This was released a few years ago, and there are still, I think, some vinyl copies around at considerable cost. This, however, is comfortably the best sounding Rolling Stones I've ever heard, and this is a copy of the downloaded high resolution files. 25 tracks coming from Come On up to She's a Rainbow. Absolutely astonishing. And the last time I looked, a copy of that on, I think, eBay was going for north of £500. There weren't many. Find it in a charity shop. Make yourself rich. It's a pity, but the Stones had some great stuff. Okay, let's move on to the Beatles. The obvious place to start. The Beatles #1. Double album, been out 10 years now, I think, and it got a reprint. I'm fairly confident that the first versions of these did not include Giles Martin's remix of some of the tracks that appeared on it, where later copies did. I'd appreciate any comments to put me right on that one. That's my understanding. The problem with this is that, as I recall, it doesn't include Strawberry Fields Forever. This was built around the American market, much bigger than the European market. And for the Americans, their #1s were different to ours. 8 days a week and Yesterday. Don't recall those being singles in my lifetime, not over here. But it sounds very good. It's excellent. And it does, of course, all the singles on it, bar the ones I've just mentioned. It doesn't quite meet, in my opinion, this. Past Masters. It doesn't have the same track listing by any means, and it misses perhaps even more singles. But this sounds truly excellent. And there's a mono version of this as well, although the mono version again now is going for silly money. Not necessary, because this sounds absolutely superb and contains a lot of what's on the Beatles #1. So if you're going down the Beatles, let's get a best of, let's get a compilation, go with that. And just to show that not everybody, even the top bands, get everything right all the time, I hope that I'd say to you, sometimes you might have saved some money, or you could even save some if you're a collector. And I point you in the direction of the Beatles' Oldies But Goldies. This is a collection that came out very early. I think the latest track on here, it doesn't come out as far as the White Album, Abbey Road. Last track on here, we've got Eleanor Rigby, Yellow Submarine. It's that sort of time scale. And these are quite expensive, but don't waste your money. It's not good, and it's not about the track listing, it's about the sound. It's possibly the only time that EMI got it wrong. I don't know if it was rush released, I don't know where they got the masters from, but this does not sound good. I'm fairly confident that if they re-released it with Giles Martin breathing his magic on all of the tracks, particularly the earlier tracks, there's a couple on here that have turned up on the red and blue albums, but there's a couple that haven't, and I think this would sell extremely well. But even on the second-hand expensive market, don't bother. Even the very best make mistakes. Okay, now before finishing off completely, because I'm going to come back into this, there's a couple of, I've got boxes, but these are available on CD and on smaller albums. And I'll pick up, first of all, Fleetwood Mac, 50 Years Don't Stop. You will struggle to get a better quality recording than this on CD, got the CD, or on vinyl. It is quite simply a superb compilation of a wonderful band and highly recommended. And since my last CD was on the Beach Boys, it would be churlish not to bring this up. This, what did they call it? The very best of the Beach Boys Sounds of Summer. As you can see, this is a box, but there is a double CD and a double LP version of the same. And for once, the Beach Boys management company got it right. The quality of recordings on here is excellent. You won't hear the Beach Boys better unless you buy audiophile albums at silly money. This was properly curated, properly looked after, properly put together, and is an excellent box set. Highly recommended if I can keep it together. Okay, that's it for volume 1. Please subscribe. I would really appreciate it if you do. If you get one of these compilations or you have any comments, I'd love to hear them below. In the meantime, stick them on your turntable, put them in your CD, stream them, but whatever you do, play it loud. Cheers.